Well, hello everyone and good evening, and this is going to be a let's look inside or look inside video. I try to do these when I have something that I don't think is going to need a lot of repair, or if it's going to need repair, it's not going to be done in this video. In this case, we have a rather nice Sony AM, FM, and police band, great, radio that I picked up this afternoon. This was a bit of a find. I found it in a corner at the Salvation Army. I should say I like to record a video like this, or even better, a repair video, just about every week or every 10 days or so, and I will try to post those up just about with that frequency. So if you subscribe to my channel, then you should see something new, more or less every week, every 10 days, something like that. Obviously, this is just a hobby, so that's how things come up when I have time and when they're available. I should say I was very excited by this radio because I picked up a GE a couple of weeks ago, which you'll probably see a video of before I post this one. And that was a really, reasonably exciting radio. Radios of this type are not something I found a lot of lately, and now I found two. And this seems to me to be quite neat. Sony from the middle 70s, I think, based on what I looked at online. I'll show you the information on the back of it. I want to point out that someone put a new plug on it, but it's old enough anyway that it's not polarized. So I don't quite know what the date that would be in Canada, sometime in the early 80s, but of course, the kind of person who might keep this around might have had a junk drawer with, an extra plug in it quite a bit later, but we'll keep that on there at least for now. So this is a Sony ICF 7370W. I don't know what the W stands for, and it says PSB 147 to 174 megahertz, FM usual frequency, AM usual frequencies for North America. Uses 4 Cs. It's got obviously an AC supply, made in Korea, and somewhere on here it says, yes, 1 FET plus 1 IC plus 9 transistors plus 1 transistor for aux circuit. Aux circuit. Well, I'm not sure what that is all about, but we'll figure it out. Going back to the controls on the front, just to mention, this is definitely a Canadian one because we have all English on the back, all English etched in, and then we have a label with a bubble under there, which has probably been there for quite a long time now, which gives you, do not open, danger in fridge. But of course, we're going to open this in just a few minutes. On the front, you have what's a really lovely, smooth tuning control, a band select switch, volume control, power switch. As I said, I have tested this. This works fine on AM and FM. I should say FM, my impression was very good. AM, I tried it in my kitchen, which is a bit of an AM dead zone, probably just because there's so many sheet metal things around there, and it's in a bit of a corner. So I don't know, but it picked up the local stations fine, so I'm thinking it's pretty good, but we'll see. It says super sensitive, so I'm hoping I'll find a nice big ferrite rod in the back of this. That would be exciting. The PSB band, I got nothing on at all. I'm not sure I would find anything on here in Toronto these days. But it also has a squelch switch, which turns it on and off, which is broken. So that might be stuck in the middle, that might be stuck to on, I don't know. So that's the only thing that I might look at while I'm inside this radio this time around. But my intention is I really only care about FM and AM. I will probably try to get that working at some point if that's the problem with it. Order a new switch. These are pretty standard design. And I could always replace both of them so that they matched if need be. So I'll maybe get some measurements about that while I'm in here so that then becomes an option. I want to show you also that the antenna, it's got a fixed handle, which I don't love, but it's got an antenna's fine, and it's got the Sony white end. I remember as a kid, the Sony TVs had red ends on the antennas, the rabbit ears that came with them. So that seems to me quite typical of a 70s or 80s Sony. So yeah, so I'm actually pretty pleased with this radio. As I said, I've tested it briefly, and we'll try it out again, probably with batteries after I've given it a bit of a clean and we've had a look inside. And so what I'm going to do is go to the bit of a clean portion now. I'm going to take off the knobs if I can easily. That one comes off nicely. And we'll take these off as well. Well, those come off easily. And I'll give it a bit of a clean. I'm going to use a microfiber cloth and just a little bit of, regular, actually brand name Windex at this point, which seems to work well for getting off. The microfiber gets inside the speaker grill pretty well, and gets most of the stuff off of something like this really quickly. If you want to get the knobs and stuff perfectly, then you would need to go to more effort than that. But I mean, as long as I'm quick and dirty is fine with me. I will say, if you do this, spray on the cloth like this, there to get, and don't spray directly on the speaker grill and get what appears to be, based on the sound it produced, a very nice speaker and get it all wet with Windex. That would be a bad idea. So what I'm going to do is do that now, give it a bit of a clean, and then I will come back once I'm ready to take the back off. That all looks great, and as I said, the antenna's not broken. So even though it's got a bunch of bumps and dings on it, someone took reasonable care of it. And as I said, it works. So let's have a look inside now. I will show you inside the battery compartment. This takes 4 Cs, which is a bit more reasonable. Back here is where you're supposed to put the cord, which is one of these, a little bit too narrow for my purpose. There's no evidence of any damage inside the battery compartment. I think maybe C's hold up better than AA's. I haven't seen it in any of these C radios. They've not been too bad anyway. So let's find, sorry for that noise, let's find a screwdriver and let's see about getting this apart. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that looks to be it. It looks like it's got a separate back from the handle and whatnot, so that should make it comparatively easy. So let's have a look. I'm not going to go too deep, so if I can't easily get at the switches and whatnot on the front, I'm not going to try. Oh. I have demagnetized the screwdriver. I will use the magnetizer to run the screwdriver through, and there we go. These are really kind of good. And I can smell some old radio smell. Some of it might, of course, be that foam, which I will probably... Okay, so that's pretty short. So what do we got? We need one more screw. Which one's not out yet? That one. So we've got the power supply over here. Under that, we've got a single board, which is held in. Oh, I see. Okay, we might get a good look at this. And there we go. And there's the front of it. So this comes off the transformer, comes into here. There's a big capacitor. How many diodes? I see 1, 2, 3. There's got to be a 4th diode in there anyway. There's got to be. I must not see it. It must be under the capacitor. So this has got to be the power supply section. There's some little transformers. This is the broken. So I don't know about fixing that. That's going to be difficult. So let's just have a look at. So squelch off should be down. We'll leave that down. This is the band switch, which connects with this. Actually, look at the tiny little voice coil on that speaker. That's cute. That pad is okay. It's pretty hard, but it's all right. Let's wipe off this dial since it's got some dust on it. There we go. I mean, I will be in here again. The dial cord is, look at this though. The dial cord attaches to both sides of the pointer. Now there's a dial cord one doesn't dare touch, right? That's like, if you touch that, you're done. Not going to happen. So yeah, so that switch is going to be a bit hard because you'd have to get exactly the right switch that fits into this standoff up here. So this may well not be a follow-up video to this one because I don't know that I want to get into trying to do that, especially for a band that I don't care about. But we will keep it hooked down there. The other possibility would be to get something and just glue it on, but that's going to look terrible. It might be better to leave it off. That's the power supply. The batteries are coming up through here, so would there be a diode there? I don't know. Maybe it's up here. Oh, you know what? We've got two reds, right? So we've got one from the batteries, one from the, yeah, and there'll be one of these diodes under here will be to separate the batteries from the power bar. And I do note, not the most generous, but a pretty decent ferrite. And the windings, like, look at that, like it's all perfect, right? So maybe I'm getting hopeful. This here is the tuning dial. So the condenser must be, oh, there it is right under there. There's some RF shielding along here, probably to protect this from the power supply coming in mainly. That's the battery. That's one of the battery terminals there, actually. Not sure. There are a couple of, I don't even know what that is under there. It's under in a little bit of, it's like a resistor, but could be something else. Let's see. There's supposed to be a chip in here somewhere. Look, there's a resistor, and I don't know, is that a bodge wire or just the fact that it's only a single layer PCB, and that was the solution, right? So we got a resistor, I think, that goes across there. So, you know, lots of transistors in conventional packages. I see some diodes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least RF transformers in there. It says there are 9 transistors. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least, and then I can't see underneath here very well. All these capacitors look fine to me. I don't see anything bulging. One of these must got to be the output transformer. And that's the volume, and that's the tone. So presumably some of these capacitors over here are involved with the tone control. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 transistors there. Another one under there, 6. There's supposed to be 9. Oh, is there another one there? Did I count that one? I'm not sure. Anyway, I can't see the IC. I can see the pins from something back here, and that looks to be this. So I don't know, is that, this is now, of course, magnetized and sticking to things. And then there's something under here that looks suspiciously like 2 rows of pins with maybe a dip package there. I can't see. Let me have a look, because there's supposed to be a chip in here. Well, I found another transistor. I don't know, you're not going to be able to see any of this. But if I look in here, yeah, I don't know. It's pretty crammed with stuff. So I don't know. But there's supposed to be an IC in here somewhere. Mind you, if it has 9 transistors, it doesn't really need one, does it? All right. So so it's a bit disappointing that that switch is sticking out on this thing and not easy to get at. So I think I'm going to leave that alone, at least for the foreseeable future. But now that I know that putting it down gets it in the squelch off position, I think there's more chance that it will be workable. So I think I'm just going to put this back together, and then let's have a listen to it. I'll put some batteries in it and we'll see where we are. Well, there we go. Batteries in. So let's give it a try. So we'll go to the AM band, turn the volume down a bit. Hopefully you'll be able to hear this with me having the...
Let's go.
So let's start down here at the bottom of the dial here in Toronto.
Tricks in the triple corks on the men's side. Number 2, snowboarding slopestyle. Anderson and Jordan. Number 1, Nathan Chen, figure skating. Much as they are.
Yeah, listen, every single thing you said is valid. There's a big difference between excuses and reasons. And you're giving reasons. Those aren't excuses. Those are legitimate things that they had to deal with that the other teams did not have to deal with, particularly the reload.
Start using, start targeting that are least impacted as far as,
Now with a little luck, probably not from here, we might pick up some of the New York stations.
Yeah, we're too busy shutting. We're too down the investigation and the revelation as to how Canada played a role at the Winnipeg labs in terms of producing what could potentially have been the key ingredients to...
Number 10530. Attention realtors and home buyers. Are you about to present a primary residence or rental
medical
That's probably 680.
approval? Are you self-employed?
Comedy 24/7 from anywhere for free. Et ça va nous donner une...
Again on the weekend. Why not shut down so truckers?
ESPN Radio celebrates Black History All.
Exercise on great.
So, you know, that's a bit of a partial scan.
一个压力啊，是面临感染 COVID-19。
Yeah, so we can get right up to 1600 at the top of the dial. So I didn't hear any DX stations, but I'm not sure I would from here without a little bit more care. So let's do one more thing. Let's see with me switching the squelch switch, whether going to PSB does anything. Oh, there's noise now, so that was definitely... I don't know, you can probably hear... I like that it says, you know, fire department. Well, actually, there we go. It works as a weather radio. It does catch the Toronto weather site. So there we go. That's pretty fun, isn't it? I don't think I'm going to bother to try to do anything with that squelch control. And yeah, I'm very pleased with that. I don't think these are worth much, but yeah, well worth it. Well worth the the trouble to pick up and the, I don't know, $10 I paid at the Sally Ann for it this afternoon. Very happy with that. That's a neat little radio. A little radio, it is not very big, and the speaker's not very big. It's maybe 3.5 inches or something like that. But it sounds all right. There's not much low end to it, but that's okay. It sounds all right, very clear on FM, as I'm sure you heard. Excellent AM performance, at least for the local stations. And you know, I said little radio, but it's a heavy one once you put the batteries in, even with only 4 Cs. I was like, okay. And, you know, nicely made, although not certainly up to the standard of interior construction that some of the later Sony stuff has, but still, you know, nicely done. And you can't argue about how easily that goes back together at the end. The hard part is getting the switch lined up. Well, thanks very much. I hope you enjoyed this little look inside this rather nifty Sony that I picked up, and I'm going to go give this a little bit more of a try, and hope you have a good day. And if you are interested in these sorts of things, please subscribe to my page, and I will have more radios, assuming I can find any, in the future. But I'll also, you know, if I can pick up a Walkman or 2 again, I will certainly pick those up, because I know people seem to get a kick out of fixing those things up as well. And well, thank you. Okay, well, let's try this for a bit of a change. I'm going to try just doing a very quick, not really a band scan. I just want to look and see if I can get one fairly distant station. And my target is going to be one of the New York stations. And we'll say WABC 770 is probably the most likely prospect. For this task, I have myself a little bit of bourbon. It is about almost 9:30 here in Toronto, and let's have a go and see if we can find anything. I'm trying a little bit different tripod setup for this. There are advantages and disadvantages to this setup. It's certainly not something I could use while working on anything. So we'll turn the radio on. And so what we're aiming for so that's not, definitely not WABC.
Candidate for Congress on the phone with Word on the Street exclusively.
At Georgia Power, we're investing in infrastructure to ensure a more resilient power grid, creating a balanced mix of hydro, solar, and nuclear energy, all while installing high-speed EV charging stations across the state and keeping your bill well.
So that's that's undoubtedly WSB from Atlanta. So not too bad a catch.
Powering tomorrow.
The real eye-opener, and Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner, is directly responsible for that. In addition, a man named Brian Flores, who was fired as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins.
So that's very likely a WABC. We could possibly get WJR from Detroit, because WSB from Atlanta is 750, WJR is 760, and WABC is 770, and 780 is WBBM from Chicago.
He says Ross is going to pay him $100K because Ross wanted the Dolphins to tank in order to get.
Yeah, that's probably WABC, because it's usually the strongest station out there.
Or the team, because it's too subjective, all right? But if you can prove that these guys come through, then Ross.
De 12 están a 2 millones de dólares. De pasado,
You ball your fist up, you hit him back.
All right, and now we're into relatively local stuff. So, what's the conclusion? You can pick up the 50,000 watt transmitters on the East Coast, no problem here. You know, from New York, from Atlanta. New York's about 550 miles from Toronto. Chicago's 450 more or less. I don't know Atlanta off the top of my head. It's not. I don't think it's a round number, so I haven't remembered. But that gives you some idea of what you can reasonably expect to get. And 10 o'clock's when things really start to open up for the eastern seaboard of the U.S. to get those channels here in Toronto. So not bad at all if you want to listen to a Knicks game or something. Anyway, again, this Sony I think is a real gem. Really enjoy this radio. I think it was a great find. I kind of like the fact that it's a bit beat up, that it's had a life, and it seems to be still motoring along just fine. Well, thanks for listening and watching.